Hello golf fans, welcome back for another week of Daily Fantasy PGA. I'm Chris Terrell, I'm here for dailyfantasysportsrankings.com to bring you my breakdown and top picks for the 2018 Waste Management Phoneix Open from TPC Scottsdale. If you'd like to see a breakdown of the course and my top stats, be sure to head over to dfsr.com and check out my weekly article. It's displayed here, you can find it on the homepage. I go over just a little bit of a preview, course information, hole composition, approach shot distribution. Those are from Fantasy National Golf Club. Past winners and scores, top stats in the model, breakdown of those stats themselves, and then I go over a couple course history targets, a couple current form targets, and a couple stats targets. So you can find a link to the cheat sheet that we're going to go over here today in the top of the article here in the first write-up, DFS PGA Weekly Cheat Sheet, as well as in the comment sections below. When you click on that, you're going to open a sheet looks very similar to this. It's going to be view only. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is go up to File, make a copy, name it whatever you'd like there, click OK. It's going to open an editable version of the cheat sheet so that you can sort columns and create your own models. So for instance, if you were playing on FanDuel, you wanted to sort by FanDuel pricing, you just click anywhere in that column D, FanDuel pricing, and go up to Data, sort Z to A, and that's going to sort all the players by FanDuel pricing rather than the default DraftKings pricing. So another thing that I do every week is I'll go and I'll sort by odds. So you'll click in that column E, which is the odds column, go up to data, sort A to Z because you want lowest to highest now. And what that's going to do is just allow you to see, kind of pick out some price differentials compared to odds, maybe find some values that way. And another way you can do that, like I explained in last week's video, is slide over to the DK to FanDuel odds differential in the gray here. Where I've ranked the DraftKings salary, FanDuel salary odds ranking, and then I've got a plus minus differential here. So the higher the number in these two columns, the better the value that player is as compared to the odds. So as you can see here, Harris English at 8,500. He's 19th in odds, but he's 62nd in FanDuel, so he's got a plus 43 there. So on FanDuel, he's a bit of a value there. So we're going to go back and we're going to sort by DraftKings salary again. And then something else I'm just going to show you is the model in case you weren't around. Check out the video last week. So in the orange column here, that is just ranking all the stats that I've got to the left here in the green. All the stats over here are just the raw stats. And right now I've got it set to 40% of this year's stats, 60% of last year's stats. Those are probably going to flip-flop after this tournament as we get more data in the 2017-18 season. These numbers right here, right below all the headers, are the numbers for the weighted model. So right now I've got 30% on strokes gained approach, 10 on off the tee. Looking at that 150 to 175 yard proximity range. Par 5 birdie or better percentage, bogey avoidance, and birdie or better percentage. And that, as long as they add up to 100. And then a little bit farther to the right, as you can see, is the overall rankings in the model, looking at the stats, history, form, and DraftKings points last 5. So a combination of form and DraftKings points last 5, I've got 50% on that, 30% on course history, and 20% on stats this week. Alright, now that we've you know how to use the sheet, how to open it, how to create your own copy, let's dig into the picks. So for this week, what I'm going to do, last week I just concentrated on a couple of cash game staples. This week I'm going to give you some cash game plays as well as some GPP pivot plays that could possibly be lower owned this week. So first up for cash, we're going to go down here in the green. He's number 4 in my overall weighted rank right now. Brendan Steele, he comes in at 50 to 1. Terrific price in the sub 8K range and is one of the top 5, one of just 5 players on my sheet that ranks inside the top 5 in all 4 categories. And what I mean by that is if you slide all the way over to the right and look at the ranks for history, stats, form, and DK points last 5, look here, he's ranked 12th or better in all 4. So that's what I mean when I talk about all 4 categories. So jumping over and looking at his form, he has finished 29th or better in all 5 tournaments this year. The only outlier here would be the Tournament of Champions. Very small field, I believe 32 players. He finished 29, so he maybe didn't play well there, but he did get his back-to-back wins at the Safeway Open to start the year. And he T29 last week after a pretty terrible Sunday in the wind. And in those 5 tournaments, he's averaged 87.5 83.2 DraftKings points, which is 6th best on my sheet this week. And then looking at his course history, he's also been very good in 5 straight finishes inside of 26th, as well as 2 top 10s in that time. And then statistically, looking over here, he ranks 16th in strokes gained ball striking, 15th in par 4 scoring, and 22nd in par 5 birdie or better percentage. So I think at that price, he's going to be a staple in my cash games this week. And then right below him at 7,700, we've got Zach Johnson. Same odds at 50 to 1. He's right there, the official world golf ranking. Steele's going to be a little bit better of a play when it comes to FanDuel, but in the same price range, I'm probably going to pair them together and build my cash games around them. Comes back with some nice course history as well. We'll slide over and have a look at that. He's finished top 15 3 straight years here at TPC Scottsdale, and then looking at his form, sorry about that, just sliding over, having a look at his form. He's not only made 5 straight cuts to start the year, but he's finished no worse than T23, and he's averaging 83.6 DraftKings points. So that's a good combination right there. He isn't elite when you look at the stats model, but a couple things that do stand out. He's 30th in strokes gained approach, 37th in strokes gained around the green, 9th in par 4 scoring, and 26th in birdie or better percentage, and 12th in bogey avoidance. And that bogey avoidance is something I like to look at, especially when building cash games. Next up, going down a little bit further into the lower range of the 7K. He's 20th overall in my model. He's been a regular in my videos and articles this season, and I'll continue to ride that train, like I said, especially at 7,300 on DraftKings. He's 6 for 6 in cuts made this season with 2 top 10s, despite sneaking through the cut last week with a birdie on the 36th hole. He did struggle on Sunday, but I feel he's going to bounce back this week. He's played here 3 times in his career with a T50 in 2012, T24 in 2013. Took a couple of years off and finished T47 last season. Nothing spectacular there. Should help maybe keep his ownership down a little bit. He hasn't been tagged very much on FanShare, so I think he makes a good GPP play as well, possibly at 5 to 10% ownership range. And I think a top 20 is definite, or top 25 is definitely in the cards this week. He isn't going to be elite statistically, but he does also stand out in a few areas. He's 15th in strokes gained approach on my sheet, 17th in strokes gained ball striking, and 21st in par 4 scoring. So my first run at my cash lineups on DraftKings, I found I can easily and comfortably fit one of the 10K plus players, whether it be Matsuyama or Spieth. I prefer Spieth a little bit myself, and then fit him in with a collection of the 7K players around him. Got a very comfortable, I think I can get 6 of 6 through there for sure this week. Not really worried about ownership in cash games, just trying to get 6 of 6 through the cut. I like fitting Spieth in there just because it gives you a little bit of that winning upside. And I think he's a guy that can definitely get and exceed that 100 DraftKings points this week. Now we've gone through cash. I want to take a look at a few players I'm targeting for GPPs, a possible low ownership in each tier. I'm going to go right up to the top tier to start with. It's pretty clear that Matsuyama, Spieth, and even Fowler will be the chalk in the top tier. Whether you're looking at course history, whether you're looking at FanShare tags, those 3 are pretty much the 3 names that are being mentioned right now. I think Rahm may lose a little bit of traction this week after his poor finish. Last week kind of burned a few people, in one and dones. DraftKings, I think he finished, down in that T30 range. But I think he's still going to be around that 15 to 18% ownership with his ties to Arizona, and he's got some pretty nice course history. 16th in 2017, and he finished T5 in 2015 when he was still an amateur. So Justin Thomas is the player in this range I will be targeting for GPPs to try and be a little bit contrarian. I don't think I think he's going to be for that 5 to 10% range. So I really don't think you need to be. You don't got to have a whole lot of exposure to him to have more than the field this week. And I think he's going to be a little bit lower on just because he's missed the cut the last 2 years. He has had some success here at the 17th in 2015, so he knows how to get around the course for sure. Up and down form coming in with the T14 at the Phoneix Open. He did struggle at the Tournament of Champions, but closing out the fall season, he did win the CJ Cup. So he does have a win under his belt coming in this year. He's 4th overall in my stats model, thanks to being 14th in strokes gained approach, 15th in strokes gained ball striking, 2nd in par 4 scoring, and 10th in par 5 birdie or better percentage. So he definitely has winning upside. If he's going to be 5 to 10% owned, definitely think he's going to make a good contrarian GPP play this week. The next guy I'm looking at in that 8K range, it's a smaller range, so there's not a lot of guys you can pivot to. He's got the worst odds in this range for sure, as Ryan Moore. As of Tuesday, he sits dead last in this range when looking at tags on FanShare. This may be due to him not playing since November, but it doesn't really worry me. I look back, because he does have some nice course history before last year. I just wanted to look back and see how much he played before coming to the Phoneix Open in years past. In 2017, last year, he was T61. That was his first tournament of the year. He finished T11 in 2015, and it was his first tournament of the new year. T17 in 2015 after a withdrawal at the Humana Challenge. T6 in 2014 after he played at the Tournament of Champions as his first tournament of the year, and he was 4th in 2013 after a miscut at the Sony, which was his first tournament of the year. So not too worried about the time off. He looks like he's been comfortable here over the years. So definitely be looking at him, and he went to college at UNLV, so not too far down the road. So he's kind of a guy that stands out when looking at desert courses. Dipping down into the 7K range, which is absolutely full of chalk with guys like Zach Johnson, Chappell, Spawn, Steele, X, and a whole bunch of others here. Make it a prime spot to try and pivot off your GPP lineups. If you're going to be chalky and you're going to play the Matsuyamas, the Spieths in GPPs, I think the 7K range is where you want to make your pivots in GPPs to kind of be contrarian with the rest of your lineup to get some separation. He's sitting with just 6 tags right now on FanShare Sports. Probably has a ton to do with him tailing off last week at the Farmers. He started off with a 4 under 68, looked like he was going to be on fire, but then he shot a 73, 73, 74 over the final 3 days and finished T45. While he's only played here once, he did finish T22 back in 2015, and statistically he stands out as an elite ball striker, 20th in strokes gained off the tee, 6th in approach, and 5th in overall strokes gained ball striking. Problem for him has been the putting. He was 61st in strokes gained putting last week. That only covered 3 of the 4 rounds on the South Course, and he's 89th on my sheet. So if he can putt even average or slightly above average this week, I think a top 25 is definitely in the works, and even possible he could sneak into the top 10 here this week, which would be huge at 7,300, especially if he's in that 5% ownership range. For some other GPP pivots, be sure to check back on my DFSR article down here at the bottom below my write-ups. I have a section who's being mentioned on FanShare Sports. I kind of look at the top 3 most tag players and most start recommendations in each salary range, and then try and give you a few pivots of guys that maybe aren't being talked about as much. I update that Wednesday. That'd be tomorrow, usually right around dinner time, around 2 o'clock Eastern at the latest. Thanks for watching the video and checking out my content each week. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel. There'll be more videos in the future. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below the comments section of the DFSR article. You can also join me in the chat room at dfsr.com or over on the DFS Tap House Slack chat. I'm in there pretty much all day long as well. Good luck this week, and may all your screens be green.